What's up everybody? So today we have another gaming unboxing for you guys, and today I hope you guys have your wrenches and your bows ready because we have the Little Nightmares 3 Spiral Edition and we have the Nintendo Switch version. So before we get into what's inside, let's take a look at the box. So up front we have the logo for the game over here, and at the back we have a little bit of details on the game, and at the top we have everything that comes in the box, and over here we have a visual representation of everything that comes in the box, which we will check out in a bit. Yeah, so you can see that the box is pretty snug inside. Right, on first glance, we have a Nome phone and controller holder over here. We have a little statue over here of Low and Alone, and we have a box with mystery contents, which we'll find out what's inside later. Let's see if there's anything inside here. Oh, there is a pouch. Here we have everything that comes inside the Spiral Edition. So let's go through these items one by one, starting off with the smallest one over here, which is a pouch with a very intimidating eye over here. Let's see what's inside. We have a double-sided coin. On one side we have Low, and on the other side we have Alone, our two main characters in Little Nightmares 3. Alright, so let's put the coin back in the pouch and move on. In this box we have what is described as a music base, and over here we have instructions, and we have the main unit itself, which actually comes with batteries. Alright, so let's get the batteries fitted in and hear what it sounds like. Oh, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but apart from playing that spooky theme music, the top of the base is actually spinning. I think how it works is that the statues over here will fit on top, so when you turn it on, the statues will start to rotate. Next, we're gonna move on to this guy over here. He is a Nome controller and phone holder. So let's get him out of the box. Oh wow, this is actually a pretty complicated box design over here.
Oh my days.
And there he is. It's our little gnome friend. He's a recurring character, I would say, in all three games. And not only do we have a gnome, we have a little sausage. And this phone/controller holder is by the cable guys. I don't know if you can see it over here. And now with your controller, just place it on his hands. And you see, it kind of sits really comfortably on the gnome's hands. But you know what else is comfortable? A Secretlab chair.
At Geek Culture, Secretlab is our everyday ergonomic buddy. Whether we're making videos, writing up a storm, or gaming for hours on end, we are comfortably seated and feel right at home without the aches and pains. Secretlab provides ergonomic support from head to toe, with a dynamic lumbar support system that adapts to your movements, along with a proprietary medium foam cushioning that optimizes pressure distribution. They even have accessories like the ergonomic recliner add-on to keep your legs elevated and well rested at any angle you like. For more information, check out secretlab.co.
And it's not just controllers that this little guy can hold, because he can also hold phones like the iPhone Air. Alright, so let's put this guy over to the side and move on to the final box in the set. But before we get into the contents, let's start with the box itself, because it's actually inspired by the game. The window that lets you look at what's inside is actually shaped like a broken mirror, which actually plays a huge part in the game, but no spoilers. By the way, this box is actually a separate collector's edition. So you can see over here that it says Little Nightmares 3 Mirrored Edition. So the version that we have today is actually the Spiral Edition, which is the more comprehensive collector's edition, which comes with the Mirror Edition, as well as the Nome controller holder, and most importantly, the music base, which connects to the statue over here. So if you only get the Mirror Edition, you just get the statue but not the base, as well as all the other things that comes in this box. So yeah, take note. Let's just take a look at what's inside. A whole bunch of stuff over here. Let's start with this here, which is a pack of stickers. So we have stickers of Alone and Low. We have the mirror, a crow and a crow skull, a carnival, which is one of the levels in the game, and finally, more of our gnome friends. We have, let's see what we can pull out first. Oh, the game. Alright, so let's open up the box. So here we actually have a physical game card and not the digital game card. We have, as mentioned, the Deluxe Edition contents. So we have the expansion pass, the Secrets of the Spiral, as well as costumes for Low and Alone. And also, I forgot to mention just now that we also received another pre-order bonus, which is 2 more costumes for Low and Alone. But no, depending on where you are in the world, your collector's edition may or may not come with these pre-order bonuses. Let's look at the Steelbook. So you can see here we have a nice little artwork of Low and Alone. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So here's the front, and inside the box we just have the black and white versions of the 2 images on the front. So unfortunately there isn't any etchings on the box. It's all in a sleek reflective material, and it's also a pretty hardy box as well. So since this is the Nintendo Switch version, it's proportionate to the size of a Nintendo Switch game case. Let's see what else we have here. So we have an art book, the art of Little Nightmares 3. Here we have the concept art. You know, we have other images as well, like the concept art for the various levels and such. And also, you know, this art book is, you know, soft cover, not a hard cover, so while you're flipping through, please be very careful with it. We have the original soundtrack for Little Nightmares 3, both the digital version as well as physical CD, which, you know, you don't see very often. So I'm just gonna go through. You have 31 tracks from the game, including the main theme. So 31 tracks is actually a decent amount. So let's put this off to the side so we can focus on the main highlight of this box, which is the statue. Oh, I missed something out. So this is actually the code for the Deluxe edition content. You know, you got a whole bunch of outfits as well as 2 additional chapters which will be released post-launch. So now we can focus on the actual main highlight of this box. If I don't find any other things inside, let me just check. Okay, great. And look at our 2 little characters over here. Alright, let's get them out of their plastic housing. Please be careful when you're opening this because as you can see, their limbs and all their little accessories are thin. I feel like one wrong move and everything could snap. On my right, your left, we have Lo, and next to him we have Alone, his best friend. She has her signature weapon, which is a wrench. And she's also holding an umbrella made out of feathers, which is kind of like a platforming element in the game's first chapter. And you know, this, despite being really tiny, the details on this statue is pretty incredible. For one, you can see over here, one of Lo's hands is actually wrapped up in bandages, which is actually something that I've never noticed throughout playing the game. Yeah, so that's a really cool detail over there. Even things like the charm that is wrapped around his right leg. And also the fact that his bow is, you know, kind of DIY with all the knots holding it together. Other stuff like, you know, the details of their hair especially is quite impressive, especially for, you know, a figure at this scale. A container that Alone is kind of landing on, as well as some rocks on the ground over here. On the underside of the statue, there is an indentation because, as I mentioned before, this actually fits into the musical base. And let's do that right now and bring back the music base from before. So here we have the final completed statue along with the music base. So, you know, we've been letting this music box run for a while now. We found out the track actually, you know, runs for a substantially long time. You know, it kind of builds up naturally like what it's doing right now. You know, when it reaches that peak point, it kind of levels out and loops in a very natural way as well. And it also does this loop like a couple of times, and it would actually eventually stop on its own. But you know, if you want to stop it at any time, you can always just press the button over here, which kind of stops it immediately. So this is one of the more unique statues that we have unboxed so far. And you know, not only does it look good, it also has that kind of interactivity element. It will definitely be one of the more interesting conversation starters in your collection. Alright, so here we have everything in the Little Nightmares 3 Spiral Edition. So I must say, for the first Nintendo Switch Collector's Edition that we have unboxed in a long time, this is a pretty decent spread. I mean, the box was deceptively small. You can see that there's a whole bunch of stuff here. The fact that they included a Steelbook, an Artbook, and not just one OST but 2 versions, a digital and a physical, is quite a nice touch. They're more than just something to display. You know, you have your music box statue over here, which has that, you know, level of interactivity. You have the Nome controller holder, which is, you know, a controller holder, so you know, it's, you know, form and function. So what did you think of the Little Nightmares 3 Spiral Edition, and which was your favorite piece of the set? Let us know in the comments down below. If you want to know our thoughts on the game, don't forget to check out our review. The link is in the description down below. And don't forget to check out our socials. We post stuff every day. And if you like what we do here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. This has been Kev, and if you want to see more stuff, check this out.